Welcome to Heart, where we break the silence, bridge the gaps, and bring real conversations about mental health to the forefront. I'm your host, Lee Yaffe, founder and director of The Long Short Road. I am so grateful to be joined by Devorah Baron today. Hi, Devorah.
Hi, Lee.
Devorah is a healer and guide with over 20 years of experience in the wellness space. Her journey began in fetal maternal health and has since evolved into a deeply intuitive practice that blends energy work and psychedelic support. She's trained as an associate pranic healer and as a psychedelic guide through the Center for Medicinal Mindfulness, specializing in using cannabis for deep healing work. Devorah brings a calm, grounded presence to her work, helping clients access deep physical and emotional healing. She believes healing is a sacred, collaborative process, one that reconnects us to our inner wisdom and truth. And on a personal note, Devorah has been part of our Writing to Heal community since we got started 2 years ago. And I'm just going to say, writing with you is one of my favorite things to do. And the fact that we get to be here together and have this conversation is just so fun for me. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. It's so fun for me too.
So I really want to start by speaking about your work as a psychedelic guide. And if you could tell our listeners a little bit about what drew you to this work, and a little bit about how does cannabis healing work? Because I think when people hear cannabis, they automatically think, right, like marijuana, right, pot, like guys getting stoned on the street corner, like to walk us through that. What is that?
Okay, sure. I'll start with the first one. What attracted me to this work? So I've been in the healing field for many years, healing myself, working with other people. And I realized regular top-bottom approaches, I guess, are limited. You hit a wall with them, and they're not for everyone, meaning like there's a certain percentage of the population you're just not going to help.
Right,
Specifically, when you hit things like dissociation or developmental trauma.
right.
And I feel like there's so much you can talk things through, but when your body is scared, you're not going to get healed that way.
Yeah.
So that had me looking into psychedelics. At first, it was like this morbid fascination. And I've always been fascinated with the subconscious mind and working, with psychedelics. And then I had the opportunity to do a different course that did not pan out because they switched the dates. That was going to be over Yom Tov. And I said, Hashem, I don't know what you want. And the next day I received an email from this school, the Center for Medicinal Mindfulness, and they said that they're opening a cohort in Maryland, which is where I live. And I was like, okay, that's my sign.
Wow.
I signed up and I went through the program. It's pretty rigorous, actually. There's a lot of classwork, a lot of reading. We have a 5-day intensive that you go in when we actually practice on each other. And we have practicums where we are guiding each other and we're being supervised. So that's the actual like educational component. Um, I I I used to think cannabis was pot.
Yeah.
I never smoked growing up as a teenager. I used to like hold my breath when I walked past people's cars with loud music blasting. Um, and then I changed my mind
Why?
bec- because I never knew that when you are mindful about what you do, it completely changes what it is.
Right.
So I think many things have potential to be harmful and potential to be helpful. And the only difference is your intentionality going in using it.
Right.
Yeah. So when I learned to use it, I only learned to use it intentionally. I'm
Right.
not saying I've never not used it intentionally, but it's definitely when you use it intentionally, I could see the incredible healing that it brings myself and to other people.
Wow.
So I'm talking about physical, I'm talking about emotional, I'm talking about, spiritual connection with Hashem. I'm talking about waking up creativity within people.
Wow.
There's many different reasons why people choose to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think, and we've kind of talked about this, in the past, that when people hear psychedelics or they hear cannabis, they're like, you know, run it for the hills. And I was also that way until I started using plant medicine the right, like
The
same,
right way.
like had never touched weed, had never drank alcohol, talk to me about psilocybin. I'm running in the other, like running for the hills because all I know is this is bad and it's terrible and I'm going to get addicted. It's going to, blow my mind up. And then I actually had the opportunity to use these medicines and see the impact that it could have on my life and see the impact that it was having on healing trauma in ways that you're right. The top bottom approach, years of talk therapy, years of talk therapy.
It's one thing to know it, and then it's another one to experience it. And this is about experiencing it.
Right. And I think that anyone who's experienced trauma knows that if you're not working with the body, you're missing 95% of the work.
Right. You're just dealing with that tip of the iceberg and you're
And like,
completely
and
ignoring it.
it's really nice to be like, I do believe that talking about our experiences and having that relational safety of being heard in our stories is so important. And it also doesn't go as deep to the surface of what, like deep down beyond the surface of what healing is actually needed.
Yeah, I
Um,
100% agree with you on that one.
yeah. So actually, okay, so here's my question for you. For anyone who's listening right now who's like a little bit either turned off or like freaked out because they hear psychedelics and they hear cannabis and they're like, oh no, what is this? Could you just, say a little bit more about that piece of intentionality and what what a journey with you actually looks like?
Okay,
Um,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. So even before I work with somebody, I have to screen out for certain,
sure.
mental health issues. I can't work with everybody, because it can trigger mania. So if there's any history or whatever, or people are recently suicidal, it also shouldn't, the last 6 months, I can't work just because it can be destabilizing. Um, we work on an intention setting, one or two test sessions, even before we even go in. And this is part of the mindset of the intentionality of how you want to use it.
Right.
When you go in with whatever that intention is. I want to let go of whatever from my life. I want to let go of this belief, or I want to bring something in. I want to bring in a sense of safety into my life, whatever it is the person wants to work through. And as they think about it for a week or two before they meeting, so we're not just like scheduling it tomorrow. This is something that we're doing intentionally. It kind of marinates in you that you're prepping yourself and priming yourself for your healing experience.
Right.
So that's the first part of it. The second part is when we go in, we kind of bring Hashem into the picture. We bring a prayer in. We bring in, like, we're asking Hashem to assist us here and to bring healing and transformation with this plant. And then we imbibe, we do it very slowly. We're doing it very mindfully, and this is a internal experience. So people are wearing eye masks and going internally, or we're not trying to see, fun colors, and it's not very visual experience for most people. So you're not really going to see those pretty fractals like you might on mushrooms, but you may see some, you may not. I find cannabis is a very physical, so very embodied medicine. Usually there is a lot of tremoring that will come up during
Mm.
the cannabis session. And this is because the body kind of stores tension in it throughout the day,
Yeah.
and you never relax enough in order to release it. And this will deeply, deeply relax your body, and tremoring will come up. So it can be a full body, it could be specific parts, and we can work with different parts of the body. Like, let's say you have pain here, it might come up and you might feel tremoring here, and we might go deeper into what's causing it.
Right.
Like, there's usually an emotion or memory buried there. And then as we access it, as we work through it, it can release. I could say for me personally, I had tendonitis in one shoulder, and I did a medicine journey, and I had experienced tremoring there, and the next day it was gone.
Wow.
Like, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, so I'm saying it can bring, incredible physical healing. Um, I feel like people need to relax into it and not resist it. Like, there's nothing wrong with what's coming up, so no judging of any sensations or any thoughts, or feel like whatever comes up is fine. Like, I've seen a lot, like, you don't have to be embarrassed in front of me. Another huge aspect is the relational aspect, meaning trauma happens usually in relationship, and the healing usually happens in relationship too.
Right. Right.
So, when you choose a guide or somebody to be with you, it's very important to really screen them out, to find somebody who vibrationally just feels right for you, somebody who's going to get you, not judge you,
Right.
somebody who's present, somebody who's just not egotistically driven, to get you anywhere, somebody who is the expert and knows better than everyone else. Those are the people you just stay away from.
Hear that? I'm like, bye. You lost me already.
Right.
Because this work, it's very, you have to really be, there's a lot of humility.
A lot of humility.
It's, and I think, and I don't know, I would like to hear what your thoughts on this are, because I think that within the frum world, psychedelics has kind of taken the frum world by storm, and everyone's very excited about it, and everybody loves it, and a lot of people are doing it the wrong way.
A
Like,
lot of people are
people
doing it
are
the wrong way, and
pulling themselves in.
including myself. Like the
Right.
first time I did it, somebody invited me to a ceremony. I was like, okay, this looks like fun. And it
Right.
steamrolled me, it destabilized me. It was extremely unsupportive. It
Yeah.
re-traumatized me. And people don't realize it can mess you up.
100%. No, and I think like, I when people come to my Shabbos table, I warn them in advance the four conversations that you're guaranteed to have at Lee Yaffe Shabbos table: psychedelics, Daniel Siegel's work, suicide prevention, and anything related to Spirited Away or like Japanese anime.
It's hilarious.
Them. But I hear a lot of people, like I say the word psychedelic and they're like, no, I know five people who were totally, their lives were destroyed. And I'm like, I agree with you.
And
My
it's not for
for
everyone.
everyone. 100% not. And when I talk about it and I share with people, I'm like, listen, I'm telling you about my experience. You have to do your homework and you have to be absolutely 100% certain that you are ready to take this on, because when they call it a journey, they're not kidding.
Right.
Like, we are not joking
Do
around.
not realize how intense. And I've had people who've done like ayahuasca ceremonies and they came to me very, very skeptical about like how powerful cannabis can be. And she was like, "Oh my God, you didn't warn me that could be like ayahuasca."
Right,
I was like, I can't guarantee. I could tell you it can be as intense as ayahuasca,
right,
and it can be different from journey to journey. Most of the
right.
times, it will feel very similar to MDMA and mushrooms. That's my experience, and that's what I've been taught, and that's what my clients tell me.
Wow.
Which is beautiful, which is also really cool because like with MDMA, a lot of you can't take it, and mushrooms you can't take it while you're taking other medicines or lowers the potency.
Right,
So cannabis is above ground. It's completely legal in most
right,
states.
right.
So I'm not hiding anything. I'm not doing anything illegal. A lot of the other ones you have to do it underground,
Right, you kind of had to go
and
around things. Right,
you have to go around things. So I love working also with cannabis because it's above ground and because it has a lot of qualities of the other psychedelics, but it doesn't have so much of the bad side effects.
right.
So like with mushrooms, you get disoriented, you can't walk straight. Like with cannabis, you take off your eye shades, you can walk to the bathroom, you can come back, you're fine, you go back in. You won't lose that agency, especially if you've had a lot of trauma, like losing agency can be huge.
Yeah,
So
terrible.
this is a more gentle one.
Right,
And there's ways to deepen into it, meaning there's different techniques we use to go deeper into the experience so we can kind of notch it up.
right.
I also have like special like medicines that will take you out the experience if it's way too intense.
Wow.
And also that I give before just to kind of make it more 3D, more deep experience. So we have those additives we can add and take away, which other drugs, you're on a mushroom journey, good luck.
You're
You're
on
buckle up. There's no getting off the
it.
train. Like you can't.
Yeah. There's been, I'm very open about this because my experience has been, thank God, all positive and, right? Like I've done psilocybin multiple times, and with the guides that I've worked with in the past, one of them told me something that was very helpful for me to hear, which is, you know, what makes the trip a bad trip on psychedelics is if you try to resist what you're experiencing.
Absolutely.
Like if you see something or you experience something and you try to run away from it, it's just gonna, try to bite you even more. And so my experience has very much been like once you're on, so like you take the dose, bye. Like you're on it and you're in it and it's gonna last whatever it's gonna last, and you just gotta ride that train. And it can be even for me, like you can say I'm seasoned in psychedelics already, and I have a mindfulness practice and I have all this stuff. there's been times where I'm like, oh my God, I need this to be over already. Like, please
Right.
get me out. I'm done. Get me out. I like saw what I need to see. I don't need anything more. Please, like, I'm done. So it's good to know also that there's that ability to come out of it with cannabis if you need
And
to.
it's also shorter. It's usually a 2 hour trip, and I do them through Zoom. So it means you could
Wow.
do it at home. You don't have to go anywhere, especially you don't have to travel across the country. And
Wow.
people are like, is it effective? It's extremely effective as long as I can see most of your body because I'm kind of gauging where the tremors are and helping you deepen into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And another thing that you made me think of is not resisting that experience, but also watching the defenses as they come up.
Hmm.
With cannabis, you're more with it than with like a massive dose of psilocybin. So you watch the defenses. So the person is like, am I feeling this right? Is this the right experience? I don't want to be thinking about that. Are my kids okay? Like you watch the defenses and you kind of guide the person back, like what would it be like for you to just be completely present with this as your experience?
Right.
And you watch that as a reflection of what's going on in their lives.
Right.
When they feel like the outlier, when they feel like nothing ever happens for them, or they feel like I don't feel anything. So you notice that numbing out. You notice that, and
Right.
then the intellectualization where people just talk, 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 and we welcome talk, but this is your experience. You get to go inside. I don't need to hear about your grandmother's neighbor's cat's uncle. Like very nice, but you're here to for yourself. Is this how you want to spend the time? So I
Right.
will always bring people back, like let's go back into the body. The body is the anchor, the body is the gateway to whatever's going on.
Right. And I think also just, recognizing that someone who's been through a significant trauma, that can be really challenging to drop in, right? Because
It
part of the defense mechanism has been let me not, let me distract, let me numb, let me work my tush off, let me, drink or smoke myself into oblivion so that I don't have to think about or I don't have to feel what I've experienced because it's too much pain. So having that guided ability to say, let's come back into this together, right? That sense, as you said, trauma often happens in relationship, and that relational safety is
is
crucial for the healing
it's
process.
crucial for healing anything specifically developmental trauma. And I am doing advanced training now, specifically with dissociation and developmental trauma.
Wow.
Because my program took me this far, as many levels as I did, but I felt there was a missing piece.
Right.
So I'm working through an organization called TIP,
Okay.
and it's great. And it's about resourcing, it's about safety. And you can't go, your nervous system will only allow you to do what it's safe to do. And you can't
Right.
push it, you can't force it, you can't hit it with a 10-foot truck. It's not moving. It will only do what it's ready. So as the defenses come, you can work with them. So I had an example. This one woman who was extremely anxious. So her entire session is this, and I'm worried about my daughter, and I'm worried about that, I'm worried. And all the time let's go back to our body, let's go back. Towards the end of the session, her mind was quiet for the first time in like probably like 30, 40 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, what's that like for you? And she was just like, and you could see the anxiety coming up for her because she's never actually like been with herself for a few minutes. And then, but there was also bliss coming on, like this is a beautiful place. So although like I'd say, 4/5 of a trip she couldn't touch there. And I believe she had to do two because the first one she couldn't get out of the anxiety
Right.
mode. The second one she hit and she, as you do the waves, like all psychedelics, there's waves,
Right.
your nervous system knows how to ride them naturally. So
Right.
you need less of the guide, but and you're more into, and you gain that confidence and you gain that, oh, I could do this, and you know what to do, which is
Right.
also
But I just something I really want to touch on that what you just said that your nervous system will only let you go as far as it's ready to go. I think, being in the healing space and especially for me working with people who are at very high risk and who, suicide is a symptom, right? It's not who they are and there's many issues often under the surface that are leading to suicidality. And my experience has what I've seen with so many people is they're like, well, why can't I get better? Why can't I heal? Why am I not seeing an impact in the work I'm doing? And it's like, well, you have to remember that you're working with a nervous system pattern that you've had maybe for 10 years, for 15 years, for 40 years, for 60 years. Your body and your mind know how to operate a certain way to keep you safe. Undoing that work takes time, right? Like even what you said with this woman, the first session she couldn't even relax, right? She couldn't get out of the anxiety. It's not it takes work.
Sometimes it takes a lot of time to get to that place, and it takes some work to get out. It's not going to be a magic pill. And I also want to speak to the magic pill people. Like they think they're just going to do this, they'll do it once, and they're going to be healed.
Right.
Sometimes it does happen that way, and thank God when it does, but most of the times it won't.
Right.
And sometimes you need to do it a few times, and sometimes you need to take a break between sessions. And I'm going to say, like, integration is the most important part of your journey, which means that after the journey, people think, okay, the journey is the epitome and it's the height of it. It's the height of feeling an experience, but then living that experience is going to be like something else. So we do meet after for integration. We want to bring whatever you learned into your life. We're not doing it just to have that information. If let's say safety came up for you and you started feeling safe in your body, and I'll try deepen it. Okay, let's feel that safety in every single cell of you. And we try deepen in so that it becomes completely embodied somatic experience. But when you're out of it, how does that safety work?
Right.
Notice, before you used to tense up when somebody tries to hug you, watch yourself soften into it.
Right.
Feel the safety in your body as the person's hugging you. Invite people into your space rather than tensing up when they come near you, just working with it a little bit differently, working the piece of safety. Have a practice before you go to bed to feel that safety or that memory of safety everywhere. Bring that in, put a timer on your phone, remember it throughout the day.
Right.
Like you just don't want it to be the one experience and then, okay, I had that experience, now I'm healed.
Right. I think that's a misunderstanding that people have about psychedelics in general. It's like, oh, I'm going to go do this thing and then I'm going to be healed. It's like, no, it's actually going to highlight for you where the work has to happen in real life when you're not in it. Right.
Right.
Like you could be so spiritually aligned and in tune when you're on ayahuasca or cannabis or psilocybin, but then what happens when somebody cuts you off in traffic? What happens when your spouse triggers you or your child triggers you? Like, are you actually doing the work? Because that's where the real, like, I remember one of my guides saying to me once, life is the medicine. Like
Yeah.
the medicine is going to highlight for you where you have to heal in real life and how you integrate that into your real experience of being a human being.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about like the time of, we're in the Omer right now. Like Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, that was huge. We were on the lowest level. And then we actually had to do the work for 49 days till we got it. It's work and it's not coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk a second to like what I call the journey junkies. Like, they just go from journey to journey to journey to journey. And all
I
these
I almost became one of those people. I just want to say, like, after I did my first psilocybin, I was like, oh my God, when can I go back in? When can, and my guide was like, chill.
yeah,
You need to take 6 months to integrate what you just saw and what you learned. Like, you can't just hop back in and expect miracles to happen. You got to do the work now. So please speak to that.
yeah, I mean, like as a guy, like I don't feel filled doing like what I call the one night stands where you're just coming in and you're doing your experience, you have no intention on integrating, or you intend on it but you won't, and then you come back a week later and a week later, but there's nothing different in your life.
Right.
Although people have done 50 ayahuasca journeys and they keep going back and back and back, the substances themselves are not addictive. Nobody is addicted to mushrooms. Like they're non-addictive. People think they're addicted to the experience of feeling because
Right.
they're so numb in their lives, like, oh, I'm feeling for the first time. They're so I find that people like say to me, well, can I get addicted to pot when I'm doing a cannabis journey? I'm like, no, you're using this intentionally. There's no way you're going to be addicted to this kind of experience
Right.
if you're doing it intentionally. If you're doing it just for fun, you can get addicted to the experience and do it every day and numb out of your life. You're addicted to numbing out. You're not really addicted to the substance.
Right. It's not the healing you're addicted to. It's the here's another coping mechanism that's taking me away from feeling my pain.
Oh
And if
yeah.
that's how you're using any form of plant medicine, then that's problematic, right?
Right.
Like, it's so funny because I've been trying not to quote Gabor Mate since October 7th because he has become such a self-hating Jew. But, and it's so heartbreaking for me because I love his work. But he says, ask not why the addiction, ask why the pain. And very
Right.
often when people keep going back into ceremony and they become, right, these like journey junkies, it's very little to do with the medicine itself and what it is they're trying to hide from.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like also they want to feel, but
right,
without doing the work.
right. So we got it. The work is what's necessary.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Devorah, I could talk to you forever, but we're like coming to the end of our time. So my question in like the third in 30 seconds, do you have a message of hope for anyone who's listening right now who's been doing a lot of healing work and is feeling stuck and not able to access that
Yeah.
that deep healing?
I say there's a time for everything, and it may not have been your time before.
Mm,
And you may have needed to clear out certain layers before you can deal with bigger stuff.
yeah,
So sometimes you might want to jump in and go to ayahuasca, but your nervous system isn't regulated enough to handle that. So do the work. Slow is more sometimes, like I know people want big experiences that change their lives, and maybe you will get that one day, and maybe you won't.
right.
But can you accept that that might be your journey too? Is just being real with your life and
Yeah.
embracing what is. Um, so in terms of healing, I'd say never give up, keep trying. Like this modality might not be right, this therapy might not be right. Just keep trying until you find your thing.
Right.
And then you know, ask Hashem for help. And you might see miracles.
Yeah. Beautiful. Devorah, thank you so much for being here and for your time and your wisdom. I'm so grateful to know you, and I'm so grateful that you're doing this incredible work. Where can people find you and connect
Um,
with
sure, they can go on my website, devorahb.com. So Devorah is with an H, and B is like the bug.
you? Mhm.
Or you can just text me. Should I give my number,
I'll
Lee?
put
Or
it in the show notes.
perfect.
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Devorah. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Lee.
Thank you for tuning in to Heart to Heart. If you or someone you love is struggling, please know there is hope and help is within reach. Since 2019, the Long Short Road has been walking alongside at-risk individuals, offering trauma-informed programs, a non-emergency hotline, and a community that fosters healing. No one has to go through this alone, and we are here for you. Discover how the Long Short Road is changing lives. Visit www.thelongshortroad.com or email us at info@thelongshortroad.com to learn more. You can be part of this mission. Sponsorship opportunities for Heart to Heart are available. Honor a loved one, support your community, and help us make mental wellness resources accessible to those who need them most. Until next time, remember, love and connection are the greatest healers. This is Lee Yaffe reminding you, hope is here, healing is possible, and you are never alone. Together, we're walking this long, short road to a brighter future.